Jacob Sunshine here with the NYSide. I'm here with Matt LoCastro, running for Vice President, USG Vice President. The first thing, Matt, your role as Vice President, what do you see it as?
And my role as Vice President, so the official role of VP is to assist in the everyday functions of the USG office. Part of that is making sure everybody gets their paychecks on time, all the projects are on their timeline, on their schedule, and making sure everyone's in order, showing up for their office hours, carrying out their responsibilities. Part of that, too, is also being the face of the student government along with the president, going out, speaking to administration, making sure students are getting the proper outreach and receiving the information from our G-Blast, and just overall making sure things are running smoothly and we have a good line of communication with administration.
Was it the lobbying that took place outside of Hunter or other CUNY campuses that led to Cuomo's decision to say, okay, we're going to keep the full budget, $1.4 billion, or was it something else? But was it really the protests?
The protests that we helped organize was the March on March across the Brooklyn Bridge and then the protests outside of his office. And at both protests, we had a huge amount of people show up, especially at the protest at his office. It really put the pressure on him. We got the support of many local city council members as well as Gail Brewer, the Manhattan Borough President, to help put the pressure on Cuomo. So it is several factors. It's not just the protest alone, but it's the message that it sends that so many people are upset about this plan and that it's not the right way to go to be making higher education out of reach of so many students' hands. At the same time, we had the support of local politicians, which added to the pressure we put on him. So USG isn't alone in this. We had a lot of collaboration with NYPIRG and many other student organizations here that showed up to the rallies we helped organize with the United Student Senate, which is the CUNY-wide student government.
So I spoke to Antonio Cerullo.
Yes.
And he's running for junior senator. One of the things he says is, no, we're not going to talk about reallocation of funds. We need more slots for simply more funding. It's not a reallocation. It's not a priority issue. It's a monetary issue. What are the student expenses or the other areas of CUNY that require more of that money?
Sure. So,
and how much money?
Yeah, just to give you a little insight about what our current capabilities are, USG gets $1.5 million to spend on club budgets, events, and just general supplies. That money does us well with running the student government, providing events, and training our club leaders to host their own events. But in other areas of CUNY, such as actually paying our professors a decent wage and giving them a contract, that's absent because there's not enough investment in CUNY to actually give our professors a living wage in which they can sustain themselves and their families. Along with that, you have the infrastructure. You know, we see a lot of projects going on here at Hunter right now, construction of the library and of other areas. Of Thomas Hunter was reconstructed the exterior a few years ago. But that's all coming from donors. And that takes a while to accumulate. And time is the enemy when it comes to supporting our students here. And we want to be able to support them now because it's so vital for them to have the education they need in the environment they need in order to go out into the workforce after undergraduate and get a proper job.
Sexual assault policy. And it's actually something that at the NYSide we've covered it. And obviously it's one of your priorities. But how are you going to differentiate yourself from the two other VP candidates on that policy?
Yeah, sure. So I am the only vice presidential candidate that has actually worked on the issue of sexual assault here at Hunter. I helped create and launch the Student Stand-Up campaign. It's like a baby to me. The idea came to me my sophomore year when I was a member of the FSDC, end of the semester. We got that idea and planted it in our brains, and the next year came rolling around, and we started trying to figure out how we're going to launch this, how we're going to organize, and that was the beginning of this semester.
Yeah.
Last semester. We then put together a great team on the Student Welfare Commission under Alyssa D'Souza, along with me leading the charge with organizing the whole Student Stand-Up campaign. But it's not enough for me. And my policy and what I want to see next year at Hunter is this to be expanded into a fundraising effort in which we could donate to charities that work with survivors of sexual assault and help facilitate change, not just at Hunter, but in the broader New York City community.
So now we have some policy questions. There was legislation passed in the summer by Governor Cuomo. The law is called Enough is Enough, and it affirms consent. Well, it changes the definition or alters the definition of affirmative consent. And I'm going to quote the law: knowing, voluntary, and mutual decision among all participants to engage in sexual activity. And consent is done through words and actions. My question, number one, is that a substantial enough alteration to the law? And number two, can you go improve the words and the actions that took place in someone's bedroom? Where are you on that policy, and does it need to be improved?
Sure. So it's the policy for sexual assault, in my personal belief, should be a yes means yes policy. A lot of other places within the United States have a no means no, but there needs to be an affirmative yes on that issue. And what we find with a lot of sexual assault victims is that they do have trouble sometimes proving that they were sexually assaulted. One, because of the psychological and physical trauma they experience after a sexual assault. It's hard to then reach out to others and relive this issue. And at the same time, the evidence itself is sometimes hard to prove in court. To that, it's important that we make sure those who have been victims can feel comfortable coming to local authorities and reaching out about their experience, first of all. And then when it comes to trying to bring justice to this issue, everyone is innocent until proven guilty, but it's important to listen to what someone's saying, and that doesn't happen enough. And it's important not to place judgment on what somebody's saying and actually listening to their story, because in a courtroom, the jury's job is to evaluate the honesty of a person's statement. And I honestly believe that if you are a victim of sexual assault and you come forward, that is a real case of sexual assault. And I hope that in every case that the victim is strong enough, the survivor is strong enough to come forward, and that there is enough evidence for the state government to prove that sexual assault did happen if it did occur. And I have faith in the justice system to really carry that out.
So do you have faith in that law?
Since it is an affirmative law in which it helps implement the yes means yes idea for sexual assault, I do. It needs to be a verbal consent. It needs to be a clear consent. No gray area, no ifs, ands, or maybes. It should be yes means yes.
So why is yes means yes better than no means no, and how do you prove what was said?
With no means no, that means that an absence of a yes means yes to sex, and that's not how it works.
And the law changes that.
Yeah.
The law changes silence. It says silence is a no.
Silence is a no, and that is a step in the right direction. USG is an office, and it's, I gotta say, such a great office to be a part of. And taking my experiences there will definitely make me a great vice presidential candidate and hopefully vice president of USG next semester.
It's Matt LoCastro, junior senator running for vice president of the United Students Government, political science major, double major in political science and economics.
Senior senator.
And senior senator.
Senator.
Thank you, Matt.
No problem.
All right.